Tuesday.
And they still cramped.
Yeah, and it wasn't like they don't. I mean, sometimes they do cramp, but and I'm not running right now, so
Hmm.
I don't know what the dealio is, but
Okay. Well, if we can give Kay a couple minutes from whatever meeting she's getting out of, and then I want to go through everything that I did the other day, which is all the basic sequences,
okay.
and make sure that everyone knows how to do them correctly. So we get more and more of the knowing how to do the the moves correctly versus just following. So I want to watch and stuff. I don't know why my TV didn't turn on now that I'm actually home and I could see you guys on a big TV. So let's do the face lift neck release thing. Take your earrings off and your whatever rings you can take off. It doesn't really matter, rings. Here we go. And yeah, you're not going to need rings off at all. And then first, before you start, and you can stay on top of your roller if you want or whatever, turn your head side to side. Just do a quick neck assess. Go side to side. Like if I go to my right, I feel more restriction than when I go to my left. Notice that. Then look up and look down. Notice if there's restriction there. Right, and then do this one, drop in air. And hi, Chelsea, and drop in air. We're going to do facelift and then get into all the basic sequences. So just your softball. So once you've noticed that, then we go into this, the basic facelift, which is starting behind your ear on the skull. And there's this place that you just sort of edge your ball into, heel of hand, bend a knee so you can rest your head in, and then you start circling. Right, you circle. So each of these shears, you're trying to move the flesh. So if you look at me, what you're trying to do, circling, is to try to get that flesh to move a little. You can probably see it a little bit more. So you are circling, but you're also trying to get the flesh to move against the bone. And then you edge into a tight place, you lean in, you stop, and take a deep, deep breath. You go to your jaw. Same thing, get your head resting in, start circling. And go. Sorry I forgot to leave the roller, but I'm glad you got it, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Okay. I was in the back room.
Oh, no problem.
So glad it worked out anyway. And then edge in, find that barrier, little cross friction, stop, inhale, and exhale. Go up to your temple, and you're circling around. And this one I like to start pretty big because there's a nice sort of rim right here that you can feel on your skull. And then when I find the barriers, I start going smaller and smaller against that barrier, still resting. Stop and inhale. Exhale. I have a good barrier there today. And then we go into the jaw. I'm doing, I don't know if you guys have seen this push-up challenge. Do 25 push-ups a day. And it's this Facebook thing. And so I think my upper body's a little more sore than I expected to be. And edge in and stop. Inhale. And exhale. That's good. And then last one back here. And we're circling. Yep. It's very helpful to do this with your head resting toward. So it's sort of this passive releasing in. And maybe there's a different place. You can go smaller, smaller, smaller. Bring it to a stop. Good. Inhale. And exhale. Going to the other side, starting the same place. So 3 places and then you go back down. So find a place that feels like it's a good angle for your head to be leaning. And so it's as little energy as possible for the neck muscles so they can really release. Exactly. Very good, you guys. And explore a little bigger at first and then find the barriers and then circle in tighter and tighter. Not so it's excruciating, but get right up to next to it. Stop, inhale, and exhale. Back to your jaw, or the jaw on this side anyway. Circling around. Yep. And I'm watching Chelsea and she's sort of opening her mouth and closing. That's a good way to sort of find tightness. And then once you find it, hey, Kay, we're doing the facelift and then we're getting into the other things. And then rest, inhale. So it's the big softball, this one. And going up to the temple, circling around. Good. Circle, release it, rest your head sideways. Good. And then stop, inhale, and exhale. You go down to the jaw again. So we're just doing these little circles around the back, here, here, and then back down again. And see how I'm resting, Kay, against so that it's passive enough so you don't really have to work. Stop, inhale, and exhale. Because you're using sort of your head weight to make it happen. And then behind, going around. This is great for headaches, great for stress, great for having trouble sleeping, all sorts of things like that. And then edge in, tighter and tighter. Stop, inhale, and exhale. So shearing is a preparatory, it prepares the tissue. So this one we finish with a rinsing. So you have your middle finger, ring finger, and you put it against your throat and it's going to go down and out, down and out. So this is the rinsing. You're encouraging fluid flow. And then you're up by the cheekbones, so it's going more outward now, straight out across your forehead. Then you're coming down through the edge of your nose, and you'll feel it just sort of enervates the skin. And for those of us that do gyrotonic, it's called the awakening of the senses. Is a very similar thing to this, right? And you're coming down. It feels kind of nice, yeah. And then one more time, coming through. So what you're doing when you do this movement and it's going one direction up and then another place coming down is you're encouraging fluid flow in the connective tissue. And then just turn your head side to side in the same way. See if it feels softer. See if you feel a little less stress in your neck. Up and down, side to side. And definitely, I just feel a little like bubbly through my face, the tissue there. Great, great thing to do all by itself or with any sort of work you do. But if you feel a headache coming on, a really good one to do. So let's start lying down before we get on the roller and do our very first assessment. Always important. Now that you know it, we don't have to take quite as much time. But we're assessing masses and spaces. Masses are the parts touching your mat, and spaces are the parts that are off and are supposed to be off. So you start with the head and feel the back of the head. And then you turn the head side to side like you just did seated, and maybe it's looser than it was before, but there may still be some barriers and you notice those. Then you come to the center and stop. You skip the neck, the space. You go to your shoulder blades, ribs. Feel where your weight is most accentuated? Is it for most of us on the top tips of the shoulders, or it could be in the middle, or it could just feel nice and soft and planted, which is what we would love. Then sense without touching how big your lower back arch is. Most of us, we feel a very big arch when we start this, from your ribs down to your tailbone, and hopefully by the time we finish, it's much smaller. Go to your hips, feel the tilt, or if they're nice and evenly in the center. Also feel like Kay with your back. See if you feel that there's already tension just lying here. I know when I first started this, I'd have to bend my knees because my back would feel too tight. Then go from there and go down the legs. See if if your legs are completely popped off or if they're released into the floor. You should be on the side of your calves with the feet facing out to the corners of the room. And usually our legs are a little uneven because our hips are tighter on one side than the other. Put a hand behind your head, lift your head up, take a look, and just see if they're even or not, and put your head down. Finally, very last thing, center of gravity, our GPS. We want to cut the body in half and feel the right side versus the left side. Does one arm or leg feel longer? Does one side of your body feel more planted than the other side? And this is how our nervous system is sensing how our back and our body is sitting in space right now. Okay, and hopefully we'll make it more even by the end. All right, turn to the side. The very first of the basic sequences is the rebalance sequence. Depending on the day, it's sometimes more important that you concentrate on the breathing, more on the arms. Just see what you want to do with it. You sit on the very end, right? And then once you've laid down, you're in like a shoulder bridge position. You want to make sure that your head is entirely on the roller. Your hands are down. And we start gentle rocking. Gentle rocking is the entire spine from your head to your tailbone, gently rocking side to side on the roller. So the roller is actually moving and it doesn't separate. It's not like the hips go one way, the head goes the other. If you tilt to the right, everything tilts to the right. And then you tilt to the left, everything tilts. So this is a balance thing that again is great for your nervous system to feel where your body is right now. It starts waking up your core as well in a passive way. And then come to the center. The next part is your pelvic tilt. Take your hands like you're doing shaving from Pilates, and you place the fingertips on your pubic bone and your thumbs towards your belly button. And you start by tucking the hips under so everything's flattened. And then you go to neutral, 2 hip bones, pubic bones on one plane. Go to tilt. Now my pubic bone is lower than the hip bones, and you go to neutral. You tuck under. So this flattens the back and actually releases the lower back a little bit. And then go to neutral and tilt. I'm just going to watch you guys and go tuck. Good. And neutral and tilt. And neutral, one more tuck. Neutral and tilt. And neutral. Hands go on the rib cage now. When you tuck, close your ribs to the center as you tuck. Now leave the ribs there as you go to your tilt. And tuck, re-engage the ribs to the center line. And when you go to the tilt, try not to let the ribs expand as well. Differentiate that action, tuck. And it's perfectly fine for that to be a small motion. And you go to tilt. If you do pelvic clocks in any of the work you do, this is the way to find a true pelvic tuck and tilt that's part of a pelvic clock. Really great for hip and back, lower back health. All right, and good. Then you go, now we're gonna do the 3D breathing. The breakdown is first a hand on your chest, a hand on your lower belly. First, as you inhale, feel your hands lift up toward the ceiling, and then exhale, allow them to sink down. Just normal breathing. Inhale up, and exhale down. Next dimension is the ribs. Put your hands on your ribs. And on the inhale, feel your ribs go sideways. And exhale, ribs close to the center to help the oxygen go out. I mean, the carbon dioxide, right? And inhale, fill the lungs. And then push the air out. The last of the 3 dimensions is that you're growing through the crown of the head and through the tailbone like your spine is a slinky. So hand on the chest, hand on the lower belly. Inhale, feel as if you can envision the spine lengthening, and exhale, it closes the slinky. And one more inhale. This one's a harder one to see. And exhale, but the spine does do that, right? So now you can put your hands on your ribs, and we put the 3 dimensions together. We add a sound. So the sound is great. If you guys do want me to, anyway, if you, the first sound will be the sh sound. So fill the lungs in 3 dimensions. So much that you're holding your breath, and go shh. One more of those. Fill those lungs. And shh. Good, nice. Next one, inhale, and then a ha sound. And ha. One more, inhale. And exhale. Sorry, the 2 people that have dogs, their dogs are checking in on them. Okay, the sound. One more, inhale. Tina's dog must be upstairs. And do a sound last. Good. So doing these exercises, getting a lot of really filling the lungs, really great for our stress levels also. Okay, really good for the body. So now we'll do the first arm. So we do this arm reach first, where your arms are at a diagonal. They reach forward to the forward diagonal where the fingers are reaching to, and then you plug in. So you feel that shoulder blade roll around the roller. You go up and you plug. As you're doing even this, you may feel some barriers. So don't smush them too much, but acknowledge them, and maybe you can get a little release in them. And one more plug in, and we start scissoring. So first scissor, bring your right arm overhead, put your left hand on your right ribs. As the arm goes overhead, pull your right ribs downward in opposition. So you see your ribs don't have to come up, so the arm goes way back. Switch to the other side. Left arm goes back, right hand pulls the left ribs down. That's it, nice. And now continue your scissors and see if you can continue to keep those ribs pulling down in the opposite direction so that you can get some real motion in the shoulder blade action that happens. Then continue going, the palms face forward, right? Good. And then make the palms keep going, palms outward. Don't go so far that it hurts, but you may notice it's stiffer when your palms are outward. Yeah, you guys are really pretty flexible. Wow. And then palms downward. Nice. And then last set of scissors, palms facing each other. Good. Nice. And place the hands down. Okay, the next one is the single leg lift. Single leg lift. You're staying in the center. First, have your forearms down. Barely lift a leg, like just high enough a piece of paper can go underneath. And bring it down. And then the other side, when you lift, see if some tension goes into your neck and try to let that go. So really what you should feel is your core engages, but not squeezing. And down. And the other leg, up and down. And then up to your fingertips and lift a leg barely. And down. And you'll feel more wobbliness, and that's okay. Right? And down. It gives your nervous system some good information. Keep switching those legs. After a couple more, see if you can barely lift your fingertips off, but be ready to put them down. 1 foot at a time, right, with the hands off. Just a little. Doesn't have to be a big amount that the leg lifts. The higher you lift the leg, it changes the action, right? And then we're going to do a little bit more advanced one that you can try, but if you don't like it, go back to the other. Lift your right arm so it's straight perpendicular to the ceiling, palm forward. Then you lift your left leg to a tabletop position and try to just stay there. And feel the balance, feel lengthened, feel released. And then everything comes down. And then you go to the other side, left arm to the ceiling and right leg up to perpendicular. And you hold it, try to keep tension out of your neck, and you come down. Good. A couple more times, just switch to the other side. Lifting up, very good, nice. And lower down, good you guys, and switch other side. Excellent. And down, one more on each side. Very good. Up. And lower. If it feels really easy, see if you can do it on your fingertips, which I see some of you doing already. Good. And you come down. Good. And then stretch a leg out. Oh, wait, legs. There's one more that I think is really good for releasing shoulders. That's not part of the basic. But you take your hands and put them behind your occipital ridge. So it could feel a little wobbly, but you stay where you are, inhale, and you exhale, lift the head up, and you'll feel more weight going into the middle of your spine, and you come down. Inhale, exhale, lift that head and shoulders up, and lower, good. And do a couple more. Lift up, exhale up, inhale down. Exhale up. So it's a little bit like getting ready to do the 100 or something. And last one, exhale up. And you come down. Then put your hands down and do a little bit of the gentle rocking. One more time, side to side. See if it feels any different. Good. And then you extend a leg. Extending the leg. Here, I will mute her. Good. I think I did. Okay. And then extend a leg and roll off and send the roller away. And do a quick assessment. Just test your neck. Feel the ribs. Feel if you feel a little more planted. See if your lower back feels a little bit like it has a smaller arch in there. And maybe even your legs feel more even, or your arms or the sides feel a little bit more even. Yep, and you could lift ahead and see if your legs are a little bit less one turned out, one turned in. Okay, so we're going to the lower body, turn to the side, come up, lower body rehydrate sequence. So what we're trying to do in melt is rehydrate the tissue. So first one is you bring on your back the roller in as tight as you can, extend your legs. You're going to start, so we're going to do legs and then we'll get to the lower back from there, which is a great way to go. So you turn the leg, we're going to do at the top just the one leg at a time, in and out.
you can choose to drag the heel or have the leg slightly off, but it's not a straight leg because you can't get into that twisting of the flesh, right? And then stop, take a deep breath, inhale, because it's a shear, exhale. Then you go to the other side, out and in. I like to do the top of the leg singly because I can concentrate more on that twisting. And then as I go down, you can continue to do one leg at a time. I usually do both legs, so totally up to you. And then stop, inhale, and exhale. So you push down to the middle. You could do up to 5 places. We're doing three. Now I'm doing both legs in and out, and in and out. Good. In, out, in. Good. So you're sort of exploring, you're seeing where it feels tighter. Then release your legs completely. Take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. You're moving now to right the bottom of the hamstrings, not the knees, just the very bottom where they're about to attach into the knees. And again, here I lift my legs a little bit higher because I feel like I can get more, but you might feel you could try it one leg and see if that feels better. You know, depending on what you do, your legs are more or less sore, right? But all of that reads right up to your back. And stop, inhale, and exhale. The next part, depending how your shoulders and back are, I prefer the seated, but I'm just going to show you the calf glide and then shear. You can do it like this, and very small, or you can do it seated. I feel like I can get much more into my calves, so you can try that as well. You just have to put some weight on your arms when you do it this way. So I have one leg on, cross the other one over, and I slightly bend and straighten. As I'm doing that, I turn the leg in and out so I can get all that tissue. So explore the tissue, prepare the tissue. All right, then you find a place that feels kind of tight. If it's really, really tight, you could just move your ankle, indirect shear, or if it's okay, you go side to side. So the roller doesn't move on the shear. And if this is excruciating, go back to your indirect shear, okay? And then stop, inhale, yep, and exhale. Then you go to the right underneath the main part of the calf, the soleus. It's still part of your calf, and you're doing this part. So side to side, right? And if you find, like for me, it's more my inner part of my calf is more sore, so I spend a little more time with that. It's okay to keep adjusting, right? And then same, edge into a place that's really tight and go back and forth, back and forth. Good, nice. And then stop, edge in. You could even like wiggle it a tiny, tiny bit to edge in, and inhale, exhale. Then switch to the other calf, the middle of the calf. Notice if this side is tighter or looser. For me, it's much tighter, so I can't even stand putting my leg on top. So that's okay, right? You guys are doing better than me. Good. Excellent. So you explore in that calf, give it as much weight as you can, and then stop, and you go back and forth. And me, it goes crunch, 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 side to side. Yep. Are you doing the shear, Tina? There you go. Good. That's it. Or the foot, and you stop and inhale, exhale. So all of this is preparing the tissue, and then we go to the next part. This one I can stand the ankle. Very good. Crossing over. So be aware, Chelsea, your shoulders are really up. As long as it's not tense, I just don't want you to end up with neck pain because you're releasing your legs, right? So you want to be a little cognizant of that's why sometimes people do it lying down so they don't involve too much their upper body. And then stop, find the place where there's the most barriers, and you go back and forth, back and forth. Good. And stop, inhale, and exhale. Next, inner thigh shear. That's before we get to rinsing. So you lie in a straight line. You bring your knee, the roller against you, and then you send the top part of the roller away from you and put your leg on top. And then from here, you could be like this if that's better for you. This might give you more. You're going forward with the hip, backward with the hip, forward, back. Yeah, good. Does that feel like something? Yes. Yeah, it's plenty, right? It's where your inner muscles are attaching to the knee here. There's lots of stuff that goes on. So your shear, be really careful with this one. This is one way, an indirect shear, right? Bend the knee a little bit and straighten. If that feels okay for you. The other way, you could have the legs straight or bent, and you go, this is direct shear, because I'm moving on top of the tissue, right? Good. And then again, you stop, inhale, exhale. We're going to go to the middle. So I keep this angle. I put my arms down like I'm doing a single leg kick. And then I roll to the middle of my inner thigh. Yeah, good, Tina. You found it. And now watch how my hip comes up and it goes forward. So the roller moves. Yep. And so, yeah, we work that a lot, don't we? Yep, it might be more tender than the top of that muscle, right? So it tells you this is a good one for you to do. And then you stretch the shear. That was the gliding. Stretch, bend. Or if you can, either with straight or bent knee, you can do the direct shear. I turn all the way down my hip and then turn it out. Hip down. Yep, so it's going sort of right on top of the quad there. Yep, yep, and good. Then you stop and inhale and exhale. Good. And you go to the other side. Aren't those delightful? Yeah. Those didn't hurt me so much on Tuesday, I have to tell you. So it really depends what you've been doing. Right? And we go. So we're doing the gliding back and forth. I try to explore a little bit, go a little more forward onto the inner part of the quad and then back to the inner thigh, right? As heavy as I can. Try putting your foot down, okay? Everyone try that with your foot down if that gives you more or if it's better there. Then you lift it up and do some bend and straighten up the knee. Good. Oh, I'm getting a flip on this side. So be careful if you get, try to keep it from flipping too many times so you're not irritating. So like we say in most of these, sort of edge into barriers. And then I think I'm gonna do my deep breath right here because that's where I feel a barrier. Inhale and exhale. And you come down. Okay, now the rinsing. I'm gonna face you this way. So first we do the calf rinse, then the thigh rinse. This takes a little bit of upper body, right? So, yeah?
We should do the inner thigh. We have to do
Oh, we didn't do inner thigh. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I'm glad your mic is on because there I am going into the next thing. Okay, I must have been afraid. So here we go. And indeed, it's not that much fun this side either. So we're doing the inner thigh, forward and back. Thanks, Chelsea. There we go. And right, roll your thigh in a little more or bring it out. And then you stop and you bend and straighten. I must have really wanted to avoid that one. Yep. And then maybe turn the leg in and out as long as there isn't too much flipping. A little tick-tock. It's the internal rotation. So Tina, just bend your knee and then turn like you're doing lobster tail frog. There you go. It's too much on the hip. Don't worry if it's too tight on your hip. Just so you know what that other shear is. And you stop and inhale. I just wanted to make sure you knew what the move was. Exhale. Good. Now we're going to glide. Ta-da. Here. And then we'll get to the lower back next. So just like this went up and down side, this is the same. So I have one leg out of the way. I'm going to start at the ankle. I go on the inside of the calf and then the center of the calf. The inside of the calf, the center. So we're trying to get the fluid flow because we're encouraging this in this global move. Forward and back. One more. Forward and back. Other side. Start at the ankle, internal rotate. Forward to the knee and come back on the center of the calf. So, yeah, I'm sort of dragging my butt, to tell you the truth, so I can put as much weight as I can. I'll show you this way. So I'm not really lifting too much. I'm just sliding so I have more weight on that. Good. All right. The thigh is the same. You start at that lovely inner thigh that we did the gliding and shearing. You go forward, you turn it parallel, and you come back. You go forward and back. So inner thigh comes to your hip, and then center goes to your knee. Inner thigh comes up to your hip, and then back. And then we'll do the other side. I'll do it in this direction. I start on the inside. I go forward and then parallel. Forward, parallel. Forward, parallel. Good. One more. Forward and parallel. Good. That's the rinsing. Then you shake out your wrist because a little bit of arm stuff, right? All right, and we'll go straight into the lower body length sequence and lower back decompress. So this one is where we put the roller under the hips. So remember, once you're in this position, your back hip bones have to be on your head side. You see how my butt is a little bit past? But so my tailbone is on the foot side of the roller. My back hip bones are on the head side. Okay. So first thing is we'll do the SI joint shear and go side to side. Good. Yep. And side to side. Then you go over to one side, keep the knees together and circle the knees over on that side. So you're circling. And if you can, feel if you can get right onto the SI joint. And just like our other shears, try to find a barrier and then go over to the other side. And maybe it's in a different place on the other side where the tightness is, right? And come back other side. And you do your little marches. If that doesn't feel like anything, you can do circles again. I like the marches a lot, actually. Little marches on the other side. Then you come back and only the leg close to the roller circles, doesn't matter which way. Yep, and then other side. Around. Good. Then put both feet down. Before we do bent knee press, let's go over that tuck and tilt. So first, I make sure that I'm in a tilt, which means I have a neutral pelvis on top of the roller. I try to keep my ribs down, but it's pretty hard in this position. Then from there, without moving your feet, just tuck your hips under and pull your ribs down. You should feel a stretch through your quads. Don't let them turn out. Go back to the tilt. Oh, another dog has joined. Yay. And tuck. And go to your tilt. Good. And go to your tuck. Pull those hips under. And go to your tilt. Good. So bring the right knee in, 2 hands under the crease of the knee. I prefer hands under the crease of the knee so you don't overcompress your knee. You're in the tilt. On the inhale, you tuck the hips under and pull your knee in as tight as you can. And the other leg stays on the midline. Inhale, release it, go to your tilt. Exhale, tuck the hips under. And you should feel a tensional stretch through the left thigh. Inhale, release. Exhale, pull the right knee in and feel, try to imagine without moving that you're getting that stretch through the quad. And one more, inhale, release to your tilt and exhale, tuck under, drop the ribs. Nice. And switch to your other side. So same idea here. Inhale, you're in the tilt, so your butt sticks out a little bit on top. On the exhale, pull the knee in, tuck and pull your ribs down. Nice. Inhale, release the leg. Exhale, pull in. Keep the lower leg slack, Chelsea. Don't let the leg extend at all as you pull it in. Inhale, release. Exhale, that's it. Exhale, pull in, tuck, tuck, tuck. That's it. Good, good, good. And one more. Inhale, release. And exhale, pull under. Good. All right, next one. Keep that leg in place. Put your hands on the roller. This is the hip to heel press. So the leg that you were holding goes forward and flexes. And then as you come up, you're in a neutral pelvis here. As you come up, try not to tuck. Lift the leg as straight as possible, maybe perpendicular, and then point the foot and flex and point. So you're staying in your tilt on top and point and flex. Yeah, point, flex, one more point and flex. Keep the flex, and now the leg turns out and it turns in. Yes, just the internal rotate. Oh, it's just like this, Tina, not out and in. Sorry, I meant that the leg is doing this, like a windshield wiper. There you go. Just straight up at the ceiling. It doesn't go anywhere. So you should feel the hip tissue actually twisting into the roller. So you're shearing just by the weight of your leg and by staying tilted. Now, this last one, while you're still there, flex strongly, cross the midline and return. Cross the midline. And now really look at that foot and see how much you can flex. Release. Good. Flex. Good. And then last one, cross and release. Now, that foot goes down. Both feet are down. The other leg goes forward with a flex. And then as it comes up, you want to stick your butt out enough and pull your ribs down so you feel that tensional stretch through the back of the leg. And you point the foot and flex the foot and point the foot and flex. Keep thinking, how straight can you make the legs so that you can get that stretch already right through the back of the leg, which will effectively also release your hip. Flex and point, and then go to your flex. Now, don't move the leg, just internally rotate and externally rotate. So it goes pigeon-toed and then turn out. Pigeon-toed, and notice if it feels different from the other side. Is it tighter? Is it looser? Do you feel it more in your calf? Or do you feel it in your hamstring? And then stop parallel, cross the midline, return. As you're crossing, make sure that the hip stays very anchored into the roller. Good. Good. Nice. Cross. And cross. Good. Okay, we have another one now. Put both feet down. So this is related. This is called the lower back decompress. And it uses the tuck and tilt in a sort of a passive but active position at the same time. So pull both knees in. Straight arms, hands against the top of the thigh, right? So a couple times, feel yourself pull your knees in and keep the arms straight so they can't go anywhere. And release. When you do that, you should feel your core and pull in. They can be a little bit apart or they can be together, up to you. Okay, so now as you pull the legs in and push them away, I want you to exhale and go to a tuck. Inhale, exhale, pull the legs in, let yourself tuck. Stay there, inhale. Now exhale, pull the knees in and send your hips to a tilt. Different feel. Now this time just inhale, release into a tuck. On the exhale, go to the tilt and pull your knees in, push them away. Inhale, release to your tuck, ribs down. Exhale, go to the tilt, pull those knees in, pull them in, push, push, push. Two more. Inhale, go to your tuck. Exhale, pull the knees in, push yourself to that tilt on top of the roller. Stick your butt out there. And last one, release and tuck under. And exhale, push, push, push. And then you release. Put the feet down, take the roller out, extend your legs, and see if you've made any changes, especially to your lower back and your legs. So hopefully your lower back feels flatter. You feel more in the center of your butt cheeks. It feels softer, more released. And the legs maybe are a little bit more even. Maybe the thighs closer to the mat than they were before. You can lift your head up, see if you've made any change. And then go down. Good. Turn to the side, push yourself up. We have now, so these are all the basic ones. That one should really be good for your back K, if you can remember that. The legs and this back sequence, and also Tina for your hips, for sure. But we have to also do these last two, which are the upper body rehydrate sequence. So we do rib length. Rib length is the most important part to get the idea of what you're doing here. First, you have to place yourself. So I have the bottom tip of my shoulder on the roller itself. Okay, the bottom tip is not on top. Here I'm hooked over. That's too low. I want it just slightly on top, but I'm not at the top yet. And then hands interlaced at the base of your skull. So you tuck the hips under. Now the way you get the rib length, or you test for it, is you try not to change the tuck in your hips. use your hands and lengthen out so maybe you're flat, like the way you have the tilt of the hips on top, not arched. And then you pull in. And then you lengthen out. I'm going to watch that lengthen to flat. So straight out if you can, and come in. And now you go up to that flat position. You could bring the elbows in if that feels better, and we do side rib length. So you go one side like you're doing a side to side, and then you go the other side. And you feel if one side, try to keep your tuck, feels easier to lengthen, and over. So at the end of this, we'll do rib length again and see if you've made any change to this. Come into the center. Now I'm going to move myself. I lift my hips and move up to the top tips of my shoulders right before the neck starts. Okay, we do the gliding. So keep the neck long, but keep the lower back tucked under. And you go back and forth. So I'm gazing pretty much up at the ceiling, going back and forth over those top tips of the shoulders. Top tips, right? Good. And then you come down and you do that same, it's like you're doing rib length, but you're actually doing a shear now. Side to side. Because we're actually more concerned about pinning the flesh of the around the shoulders and getting some fluid flow in there. And then stop in the center, inhale, exhale. Let the ribs sink down. Now move to the bottom tips of your shoulders, lift the hips, keep the tuck, and you're going back and forth. Right, that's it, nice, very good. And then tuck the hips under, come down and do your little side to side again. Right, don't go to a pain place, but you'll find maybe more barriers, less barriers here. Little stuck stress. And then come into the center, inhale and exhale. The last place is right below the tips of the shoulders, but not the lower back, not here. So it's this area. If you happen to have a bra on, it would be right at the bra line and below. So you're tucked, and it should feel with the hips off slightly, going back and forth. If you want more weight, tuck your hips even more. And then tuck to come down. Same thing, but be ginger with this, gentle. Those floating ribs, right? Be very careful. You have to go, Chelsea.
No, thank you, Allison. Appreciate
Okay, thank you. She has a class to teach at 5 again. And come into the center and you inhale and exhale, shoulder blade. Now the upper back rinse, I have to move a lot here. It's up on the top tips of your shoulders. So you find yourself there. Then you drop the hips, look into your core, and you rinse in one direction with your head in. Then you bring your knees, feet in a little, go right back up there, find those tips of shoulders, tuck your hips down, and you go forward. And again, up, find it, hips tuck, and a rinse, last one. Up, feel that, tuck, and you rinse. So just try for a second before we go to the neck release series, which is the last one. Just try your tuck and tilt again and see if maybe you can go a little further now than you could before. Unless you're really, really tight, maybe you can't. It just depends on where you are. Good, good. All right, we're going to the neck release. sort of related to the facelift we did at the beginning. You start at the occipital ridge. First, I want you just a few times to go side to side. Yeah, we have 5 minutes, so I'm not going to rush now. I always think I have to rush when someone has to leave, from side to side. Then with your knees together, you guys, just drop the knee that's closer, yeah, either side, and then turn your head to that side. And the same place you were circling around with the ball, you're going to circle now, the way you were doing the facelift. So you find that place behind your ear on the base of the skull. You can go either up and down, or you can circle your chin. Just and then stop and let your whole head weight release into that place. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Bring that knee in. Open the other knee. Turn your head to the side. And you're doing the same thing. You're circling, or you're going up and down. Just watch. Good, that's it. Very good. Nice. And then let your whole head weight release into that place and take a deep breath. Inhale. And exhale. Go back to the occipital ridge, and now we're going to, I had to keep my fingers on, we're going to do figure eights around the occipital ridge, right? So you go up and down, through the center, up, down, through the center, up, down, center, up, down. Keep going. Nice. Up, down, up. Nice. And then bring the roller to the very back of your skull, and your chin will feel like it's kind of up. You could even do a little nodding and find the sort of the flattest, fullest place that you can. And then stay there. Inhale. Exhale, let the chin come down. Feel that length of the tissue in the back of your neck. Inhale, stay. Exhale, the chin comes up, and it's the opposite. The tissue in the front of your neck lengthens. Inhale, stay. Exhale, lower the chin, and just let that weight there. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, chin comes up. Let's do 3 more. Inhale. Exhale up. Inhale, stay. Exhale, chin rolls down. Nice. Inhale, stay. Exhale, up. Inhale, exhale, chin down. 1 more. Inhale, stay. Exhale, up. And inhale, stay. Exhale, chin down. A couple times, just go little side to side. Little bit side to side. Good. Send the roller away. Do your final assessment. See if you're able to hold on to some of the stuff you did for your lower part of your body. And see, just let your legs fall where they will. Your arms, palms up. Start with the head. Turn the head side to side. See if you have less barriers than when you started. Or maybe they're different because you released some of the most apparent ones. That's what I find interesting. Oh, I didn't feel that before. Come back to the center. Then feel those ribs and shoulder blades and see if you can just let them hang as heavy as possible. Imagine the size of your lower back. See if it feels like it's a smaller arch. Are you in the center of your butt cheeks still, with the legs lengthening out? If you want to lift your head. I'm still pretty turned out on one leg, but okay. Legs feel better, so see if you at least feel better if you haven't had a huge change in this time. And then finally, cut your body in half. Feel the right side against the left side and see if they feel little more equally in, or if one arm or leg felt longer, if they feel that they're a little bit more even. Take a deep breath. Exhale. One last time. Inhale. And exhale all the air out. Turn to this side. Push yourself up. And let me stop. Goodness. I will call that one back. Just got a call exactly at 5 o'clock from number one son and only son. There you go. If you guys could see, or if you're in gallery view, you have to see Kay has the dog, but when we were going through, Megan's dog was like very concerned about the heavy breathing. And then Tina's dog appeared. So it was definitely a dog session there. So you guys okay? Everything okay? Any questions or? Yes.
No, that felt good.
Felt good? Okay. All is well. Megan, did I mute you? I think I muted you. So you're muted. So all is well. The back is feeling okay, Kay, or?
Yeah, it's better, much better.
Okay. If you can, do you guys want me to send you these, or you have them already from the melt workshop? I don't know if you have them.
I would love those. You sent me the hand ones, but I love the back and leg ones to just.
Okay. Okay. So you can remember sequences and try them. And if you have any questions, let me know. And
I have
we'll
to
do. I know, of course. Have a good one. Bye. Okay.
See you tomorrow.
Okay. See you tomorrow. And hips okay, Tina?
Yeah, they're better. It's really helping. Yeah, I
Good.
like it.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, go through it and look at this stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Because these are the sequences you got in the melt workshop. Or they should be written down if you have the notes. If you don't, let me know and I'll send you that handout again.
Are they do you have more detailed ones or is it the list?
It's just a list. It doesn't actually say
Okay.
how to do them other than the details I was trying to add in today. I mean, the book might describe it more than what questions do you have about it?
Oh, I just found the hand and foot ones that you sent were super helpful because it tells you like
Yeah.
which ball and like all that, but they're not
Yeah.
notes. But it's hard to read my chicken scratch. So
Yeah, I don't have, I'll look through the handouts they have, but that was a handout from the Melt company. And I don't think I've found one for this, but I'll check because if I do, yeah, I'll send that to you for sure.
okay.
So, right.
Yeah. Ollie wasn't concerned about me. He just wanted attention.
Oh, he wasn't concerned about your
No,
breathing.
it's
It's
never
just like,
about anyone else. It's always about him. That's why he was hitting me because he wanted
Yeah.
attention.
great. Are you in gallery view? Can you see Tina's dog right now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so cute.
Yeah. It'd be nice if Ollie were less than 70 pounds when he was like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a difference for sure.
All right, thank you.
All right, you guys, see you later. Have a good night. Thanks for joining.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.